Welcome to Let the Quran Speak. I'm Sophia, your host. Ever heard of a church without preaching, without scriptures, without even God? The Sunday Assembly aims to recreate the communal aspects of religion without doctrine or deity, and the idea is gaining in popularity. Since it started in London last year, it has expanded to 35 locations. What is the appeal of the Sunday Assembly? Should people of faith be concerned by its popularity? With me to discuss this, Dr. Shabir Ally. Dr. Shabir Ally, welcome to Let the Quran Speak.
My pleasure to be on.
Now, there's a philosopher named Alain de Botton, and he proposed atheism 2.0, what he calls atheism 2.0, which is that you deny that there's a creator, but at the same time, you take certain principles from religion or certain ideas from religion and use it for your own benefit, because these are great ideas. For example, tradition, ritual, the institutions, the idea of pursuing a good life, trying to better yourself. Some of those things are good, and so atheists should adopt those ideas, institutions as well. And so the idea of this assembly, the Sunday Assembly, to me falls within that same sort of idea, atheism 2.0. What are your thoughts on this new phenomenon?
Well, it's interesting that some atheists do recognize the great value of religion. Religions make people happier. They give people a sense of direction, purpose, and to me, this new phenomenon of the godless churches, or I don't know if you should even call them churches, godless assemblies, similar to worship assemblies in mosques and churches, but the difference is that there's no talk of God here, there's no scripture to recite, and there's no specific doctrine to believe in. I see this rising phenomenon as both positive and negative. It's positive in that it gives people something to do. Non-belief is not new. Skepticism is as old as the Greek philosophers. And skepticism has stayed around. Some communities in history have been largely religious, but there have always been some people who have had their skepticism and doubt that they kept private. And now, with our modern open societies, people are able to come out and say very publicly what they believe or do not believe. And there is a positive side to these gatherings in that instead of leaving people alone with their disbelief or non-belief to wander and have time on their hands that they do not know what to do with, it is good that people are coming into civilized assemblies that they are willing to use for good purposes, and in a way they're celebrating the goodness that they recognize in their fellow human beings.
I've heard people say, well, I want to be a part of a larger community, I want to have friends. And that's the reason why they want to participate in this Sunday Assembly. Yes,
human beings are social animals, and in fact, if we're left to our own, in our Islamic tradition, we are taught that the devil attacks the lonely person just as a wolf grabs the sheep that went astray from the flock. And another example is given in our tradition that it is easy to break a single twig. Just snap it in your hands. But if you put a bunch of twigs together, it is not so easy to break it anymore. And in a similar way, when a person is left alone to his or her own devices, well, the devil plays with that person or misleads that person into doing evil things. But when people are together in assemblies, their togetherness is tougher on the devil. So, of course, these assemblies do not have any concept of God or devil. But from our perspective, we should see it as a positive thing that people are coming together to celebrate whatever good they do recognize, even though they do not believe in God. It still is a positive thing.
But do you think some people could say, well, you're picking and choosing the best parts of religion, and you're leaving aside the hard, the difficult parts that you should be grappling with?
Well, this is the negative side of it. The negative side of it is that if you try to celebrate the goodness that you recognize in human beings, well, what is that goodness? In an article in the Guardian UK newspaper, it was mentioned that in part of their, well, they said they're not going to have any preaching, but it's unavoidable, that they did recommend to the assembly that donations should be given. And in fact, donations of food items were being collected to be distributed to the poor. But why donate? Well, it was said that we should donate because we were evolved to do good like this. You see, here is the problem, because if some people were evolved to do good and they're in that assembly, then you have no way of prescribing against another assembly of people who feel that they were evolved to do harm and to do evil. You can appeal on the principle of non-harm, let's not harm each other, but that's not a universal principle that you can preach to a person who does not have the sense that they have been evolved to do good. You see, on the belief that God exists, we believe that God created us all to do good. Both the people who are doing good now and the people who are doing evil, they've all been created for the same good purpose. But if God is not in the picture, then there is no intelligent mind that creates the universe and its people for specific purposes. Whatever blind processes are out there giving rise to what we observe now has left it such, has given rise to some people who are doing good and some people who are doing evil. Why are you doing good? Because we were evolved to do good. Ask the other person, why are you doing evil? Well, I was evolved to be this way. This is the way nature made me, and I'm just conforming to the dictates of nature. This is what nature has done for me. So there is no way of avoiding some kind of preaching or moralizing to begin with, because we all have that deep moral sense that we ought to do what is right. And at the same time, there is no real philosophical grounding for a universal and objective moral truth or value that you can prescribe if you take God out of the picture. So that, I believe, is a very important negative.
Do you think this idea will gain in popularity? Do you think it'll die? What are your thoughts on the future of the Sunday Assembly?
Well, it will continue and it will grow. It will grow. At the same time, religious assemblies will continue for their own good reasons, because religion has a kind of a deep philosophical grounding. You see, one of these, the principles taught in these assemblies is that, these non-religious assemblies, is that life is short, so you may as well enjoy of it as much as you can, and we're here to help each other enjoy that life. And second, that sometimes life is not fair. Well, put those two ideas together, and you have a kind of potent mix for irreligiousness of the worst kind. Because if your main founding principle is that life is short, so you may as well enjoy it, contrast that with the idea that this is only one life that leads into a larger life, and this is a testing ground for how we fare in the other life, so that whatever good we do here we'll reap the benefits of in the life hereafter, and whatever evil we do here we will also reap the negative results for in the life hereafter. So that makes the religious person think, I have to do good and I can't do evil, regardless of what the immediate results are, whether it makes me happy or not. But on the non-religious view that this is one life to live, you may as well enjoy it as much as you can, well, you may as well do the things that you enjoy regardless of any consequences. You see, that's a very important difference between a religious assembly and a non-religious one. The second difference is on the precept that sometimes life is not very fair. Well, this is a general observation, and even religious people will sometimes say, well, life is not fair. But on a moment's reflection, the religious person turns back and says, well, you know, God is in control of all of life, and He will ensure the fairness and justice in the end. So I may as well be patient with what's happening to me at the moment. It doesn't seem fair, but I know that God has a plan, and He will in some way compensate me for this disaster that I'm suffering from, and I will have good with God in the end. So that gives great hope, and it saves a person from losing one's cool in a situation.
All right, we'll leave it at that. We'll take a break. When we return, jinns and exorcisms.